Carnotaurus might be the most fascinating dinosaur in the entire franchise. Determining their exact number is tricky since unlike the Rexes or Raptors, no official counts are provided by the lab. Earlier appearances such as those in the Lost World novels are generally considered non-canon for the film. This video examines every on-screen Carnotaurus from 2015 to 2025. Some entries may be debated as discussions exist over whether a single Carnotaurus is actually two. The approach follows what seems most likely based on their appearances and changes across the movies. With that clarified, it's time to break down every Carnotaurus shown in Jurassic World, Carno 1. Fallen Kingdom marked the first on-screen appearance of Carnotaurus, and it made a striking impression, even if its introduction ended tragically. This beast was immediately menacing. It appears behind the gyrosphere, sizing up everyone in sight, then suddenly sprints past and slams into a massive Sinoceratops. For a dinosaur roughly 10 meters long and weighing around 3 tons, its agility was impressive. A fight between a theropod and a ceratopsian would normally be clumsy, but this Carnotaurus moved with surprising precision. It charged head-on, grabbed the Sinoceratops by the frill, and even kicked it aside. With tiny arms, its legs did all the work, powering every maneuver. Even when thrown around, it kept fighting until a flip left it unable to recover in time. Despite its toughness, this durability wasn't enough to save it from a 9-ton T-Rex. Interestingly, it wasn't a bite that ended it, but the sheer weight of Rexy's foot crushing its neck. Carnotaurus proved that even some of the franchise's smaller predators could be formidable opponents. Carno 2 There were likely a fair number of Carnotaurus on Isla Nublar, but aside from the one whose neck was crushed during the volcanic eruption, the only other on-screen appearance shows one sprinting off a cliff trying to escape lava and falling debris. Most of the population probably perished in the eruption, which helps explain why they aren't more prominent. The next Carnotaurus, however, is a completely different case, easily the most famous, not just among Carnotaurus, but among all dinosaurs in the franchise, Carno 3. Toro is easily the most iconic Carnotaurus in the franchise, even though he's never actually appeared in a movie. He gained major attention through key confrontations, instantly becoming a fan favorite. Unlike the Fallen Kingdom Carnotaurus, Toro is distinguishable by a massive facial scar, additional markings, a brighter overall color scheme, and a differently colored tail tip. But Toro is a true survivor. He endured a close-range explosion, a full hit from an Ankylosaurus's tail, multiple cliff falls, and a host of other extreme situations. One standout moment came in Season 1 when he seemingly made a deal with the Indominus. As part Carnotaurus, the Indominus could likely communicate with him. She approached Toro, broke the fence, and let him roam free, possibly using him as an enforcer in exchange for his freedom. Likely tasked with hunting the Nublar sick, Toro's tracking ability rivals even the obsession seen in Scorpius Rex. While Scorpius's pursuit was fueled by revenge against humans, Toro's focus on the kids felt intensely personal. Another theory is that Toro's hatred originated when Kenji and Darius mocked him after he received his massive scar, solidifying a vendetta against them. His resilience is incredible. Repeated hits from an Ankylosaurus barely phased him, he survived falling off cliffs, and he endured a gas explosion at close range, retreating only to recover. Later, Toro was captured by Manticorp, used as a remote-controlled weapon and mistreated, yet he fought back when given a chance, taking out Raptors and even killing a worker. That by the end of Season 5, Toro is freed, though his future remains uncertain, much like other dinosaurs in the franchise. He even faced a Tarbosaurus in Hidden Adventure, holding his own against a larger predator before eventually retreating, showing that medium-sized theropods like him are fearless against the franchise's heavy hitters. Carno 4... In Chaos, we got introduced to a Carnotaurus that gave fans of the novels a little nostalgic flashback to the Sorna Carno. This green guy has a really cool dark green or kinda olive color scheme that would make him perfect for hiding in a jungle, and it might even match the colors described in the books. This is the only one that breaks away from the usual brown or reddish tones we normally see for the species. He's also pretty smart. When he broke out of the warehouse with some of the other dinosaurs, he wasn't just mindlessly attacking humans. Most of the time, he was just trying to get people out of of the way. He'd grab a guy and toss him aside, or lazily charge at a few others just to scare them off. Even some of the other dinos like the Carnotaurs were doing the same thing, basically shooing humans away. Honestly, if someone's shooting darts and tasers at you, you probably react the same way. But this Carnotaurus didn't ignore the other medium-sized theropods either, like the Suchomimus. The moment it saw the Piscivore, it slammed it into a crate, which ended up letting Big Eye escape when the Suchomimus accidentally hit the release button. In the end, this Carno and a few others ran off into the sunset after Big Eye made a dramatic exit and caused an explosion. Of course, that freedom was probably short-lived. Chances are Bison recaptured him or something, but that's the last time we saw this one. Now, Carno 5 and 6. In Fallen Kingdom, we see a bunch of dinosaurs being stored at Lockwood Manor for the auction, and one of them is the Carnotaurus that fans would later call Demon. There's some debate about him, but most info online suggests he's the same Carnotaurus we see in Dominion, the one that ends up breaking a horn. Demon is a classic balls of steel Carno. He even tries to steal food from the strongest T-Rex at the time. He doesn't get much screen time in the films, but he's featured a lot more in the Dominion and especially Cretaceous. In the Dominion, Demon travels all over the world after being shipped from California to Malta, and that's where he loses part of his horn. Though some argue it broke when Rexy slammed him in Fallen Kingdom. Either way, the next time we see him, he's bigger, scarred, and clearly a force to be reckoned with. He ends up in Malta's underground market, likely used for fights and probably as a breeder to pass on his strong gene. Demon's a male, but he could still produce offspring either asexually like some dinosaurs or through breeding with a female off-screen.
The girl, where is she? Where did they take her? No! Where is she? I don't know. Ran her off the center.
This little guy's strength is insane. He clamps down a Melichord's arm along with a Lystrosaurus and survives fights that would take out other medium-sized theropods like juvenile Allosaurus or Baryonyx. Demon's child has clearly dominated the fighting rings, though that's speculation since it isn't officially confirmed if he fathered any offspring. Interestingly, in the Dominion, Demon has a sort of alliance with an Allosaurus. They work together in some scenes, don't attack each other, and even coordinate during escapes. It's weird because there's artwork showing Allosaurus versus Carnotaurus, so maybe they were just raised together or got used to each other. This isn't the same as the partially blind Allosaurus we see in Chaos. So once Demon escapes, he has a brief skirmish with the Allosaurus, but quickly moves on to a much more shocking moment. When Santos loses control of one of her raptors, she calls Demon, who smashes through rock barriers to take on a trainer and the raptor. Somehow Demon seems trained, maybe like the raptors, and can act on command. This is wild because he crushes a raptor that had survived a T-Rex bite and wall slam. He's cautious around humans at first, but eventually kills the trainer when he realizes it isn't Santos, then scares off the remaining raptors and disappears. Then that's it. Those are all the Carnotaurus in the Jurassic World movies. We counted 6, though that number could be higher or lower, depending on whether you think some of them are duplicates or separate individuals. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because we'll be covering more updates on this soon. See you next time.